Um, Let us explore a Q&A and then meditate like a Jedi. An individual asks, what to do with anger? This may be a simple question, but I don't think the answer is easy. I feel like I have a lot of anger inside me. I don't know where that anger comes from. I'm working on finding out. So let's start right there. Patriarchy loves to exploit its minions. One of the ways it does that is by telling them they're dirty, they're unclean, and what they emote is wrong. There's a difference between what we emote and what we do. It's just me feeling annoyed with someone and refusing to give them the Heimlich maneuver when they're choking, or being annoyed with someone and still giving them the Heimlich maneuver when they're choking. If you give the Heimlich maneuver and save someone's life, although you find them annoying, that doesn't make you a hypocrite. It makes you a fully functioning adult. The, the great Buddhist reformer who lived in present-day Pakistan, which at one point was known as Odiana, and who was known as Garab Dorje in Tibet, explained that as we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate or love we might have felt during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into the simplicity of just emotional energy. It is emotional energy that turns the metaphoric cogs and gears of our figurative enlightenment machine. The dynamo of enlightenment is simply mindfulness and meditation. As we breathe in, noticing whatever perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, or imaginings seem to cartwheel across the stage of our mind. And during our exhalation, simply cooperating with our parasympathetic nervous system in a way that helps us to relax to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even a little bit less tangible, at least for a moment or two, until the next inhalation. No, we do not practice mindfulness and meditation to shove the anger away. That would just be fighting hatred with hatred. We work with mindfulness and meditation so that we can notice the phenomena within us and without us without being controlled like a puppet on a string. Let's continue. So it is not our job to navel gaze and figure out why we're angry. Consider, if you will, the 6 F's. Our survival mechanisms have evolved in such a way that whenever we encounter anything being a phenomena, quick as lightning, our subconscious asks, hey, that person, should I fuck them? Should I feed on them? Should I fight them? Should I flee from them? Should I faint before them? Should I fawn over them? Our anger is a primary visceral response. As long as it doesn't define our choices and utterances and deeds, then it is just another form of mental energy. Our job is not to believe that, nor is it our job to philosophize that. Rather, our job is simple, and I'm going to subject you to a visual aid right now. Going to push the OBS button. Going to push button 9. Going to tap on documents. Every time we inhale, we are already wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, whose fancy name is the sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Let's go back over here. Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the tippy top and the bottom basement of that same spinal cord. Those two regions together are known as our parasympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to relax to such a degree, once again, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the head. And so we see that whether we're talking about emptiness or whether we're talking about no self, those are just metaphors used to describe the fleeting experience latent within every exhalation. No, our job is not to push or pull at what we feel. Our job is to notice and relax. And here's the great irony. If we just set aside a few minutes every 12 hours to notice and relax in harmony with our breathing, the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's 8-fold path take care of them. And it's quite possible to master this process in as little as 7 days. Let us return to the question at hand. Here we go. I don't know where this anger comes from. I'm working on finding out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a past trauma. It doesnn't matter if your immune system's taxed. It doesn't matter if it's because you're out of spoons or are fatigued. There's a reason why infants cry upon waking, or when their nappy's wet, or when their belly's empty. We have a primal response to circumstantial phenomena, physical phenomena, interpersonal phenomena, and mental phenomena. Just because we're angry doesn't mean there is a great mystery to resolve. There is a myth that if we just understood our anger, it would go away. No. Let me again subject you to more visual aids. Going to tap button 9. We're going to tap the right document. Okay, so check this out. When we overuse, when we actively focus and actively analyze, even in the name of trying to outsmart our amygdala, the seat of aggression, all we do is exhaust the front of the brain, thus increasing our probability of presenting with symptoms of depression, no less further stimulating, further triggering that amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. So the irony is this: trying to talk to our amygdala, trying to argue with our amygdala, will only increase its anxiety and aggression. I once spoke to a woman who was raised in Arkansas, and she shared this pearl of wisdom with me. Do not try to teach the pig to sing. It will waste your time and annoy the pig. The same can be said for our amygdala. It's not our job to self-talk our way out of emotion. What's our job? Simple. We passively cooperate with the autonomic nervous system that includes both the middle bit and the end bits. Simply by passively cooperating with the autonomic nervous system, the anxious and aggressive amygdala is calm, and the empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus is gently stimulated. This does not come from belief. This does not come from theorizing. This does not come from self-talk. This comes from simply cooperating with our own factory-installed wiring. Having said that, let's go back to the opening question. But it comes out in completely trivial situations, losing at online chess, for instance. So, I am not a psychiatrist. I do not have a PhD in psychology. But if you can confer with someone who does, and in the description area below the video, there are links to help you find people who are experts in neurodivergence. Folks who are neurodivergent, who have autism or ADHD or bipolar disorder or a combination of all the above, are more prone to psychotic breaks. It's not because of what they believe. It's because of how they're wired. I'm one of them. I've spent my life trying not to be a monster. I've tried every psychological and psychiatric technique, and what I found to be the most effective is to cooperate with the inner doctor of our own central nervous system. Let's continue. I would prefer to let it out physically in these situations, but somehow I feel that this is not the right thing to do in that moment. I've tried it, and while it gives a momentary relief, I'm also very exhausted later. So that's an excellent point. In the so it's funny, a lot of psychological theories are analogs of technological norms. So for instance, in the 1800s, during the birth of psychology, locomotives were very popular. And so people talked about blowing off steam. Contemporary science shows the more we blow off steam, the more we are strengthening the neural pathways responsible for losing our temper. So in the long term, it literally does more harm than good. But wait, there's more. In the 1900s, when people began experimenting with computers and programming and stuff like that, in a sophisticated way, not in a rudimentary way. People stopped talking about blowing off steam, but instead they talked about changing our programming. Once again, psychology became an analog of the contemporary technology. But there's nothing wrong with us. The same mechanisms that can make us lose our temper at online chess are the ones that can give us the courage to defend two children from a rampaging bear. It's part of our survival mechanism. Now, can frequent loss of anger point to a larger order problem? Yes. Are we suffering there are some who feel that there are no emotional disorders, just emotional symptoms of physiological disorders. So are we experiencing systemic inflammation that will make us cranky? Are we suffering from sleep deprivation? That will make us cranky. Do we have a shit diet? That will make us cranky. Are we failing to get sunshine, fresh air, exercise? That will make us cranky. If our the less our physical needs are met, the less emotional resourcefulness we will experience. And the opposite is true. The more our physical needs are met, the more our the more spiritually resilient we become. In the name of not being a psychotic bastard, I've experimented with many things, including many diets. The diet that I find works best for me and those who I've spoken with is a whole food vegan diet. You can do it on the cheap for less than $5 a day. You eat delicious, flavorful food that will help you to think straight and help to reduce the systemic inflammation that can make us into flatulating bedheads. Cooperating with our autonomic nervous system is an excellent tool to have in our wellness arsenal. Let's continue. However, I'm also concerned that swallowing is not a good solution either. It has to go somewhere. So, yes, repression is bad. Repression undermines mindfulness. Mindfulness is the tool to let us know how much patience we have left. And if we dampen our mindfulness by repressing our perceptual acuity, we won't be able to keep our words or our deeds or our choices on a short enough leash so that we don't harm others or ourselves. So the basic mechanism, let's go back to the diagrams. Chagdud Kondro taught that it's good to have a hook upon which to hang your hat. What is the rule of thumb for mindfulness? Every time we feel our chest swell with breath, silently and mentally recite the verb watch. What is the rule of thumb for meditation? Every time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale, silently and mentally recite the verb rest. The fancy pants explanation would be that the essence of mindfulness is watching the antics of mind. The essence of meditation is to rest in mind in the fleeting experience of mind's non-graspable aspect. So we can do this while sitting. We can do this while briskly walking around the block. And you'll be surprised how effective that is. Briskly walk for 20 minutes or 40 minutes or 60 minutes. Not only does it give us a harmless outlet for our anger, but it helps us to associate the anger response with the therapeutic act of watching and resting in coordination with our inhalations and our exhalations. And so for someone who struggles with ADHD and all the comorbidities, I can tell you from first-hand experience, this works really well. Don't take my word for it. There's a wonderful book you can probably find online called Walking Your Blues Away by Dr. Tom Hartman, PhD, and it's a good book. Is it perfect? No. But is it good? Yes. Or you can just put these ideas to the test in the laboratory of your own body and mind and circumstance. I mean, you'll be hard-pressed to find a doctor who will say, no, don't walk around the block. And if you are a woman and you are understandably concerned about taking a walk around the block at night, then make an agreement with your partner and say, listen, when I'm feeling cranky, I don't want to take it out on you like a Rottweiler with a chew toy. I want to do brisk walking meditation. but I don't want to get mugged. So would you please walk with me in silence while I'm doing brisk walking meditation? And 9 times out of 10, your partner will say, of course. I mean, what's the choice? Go for a walk or be used as a chew toy? I'd prefer walking. How about you? So I want to double check and make sure I've answered all the questions put to me in that posting. Let's see, I'm going to tab button 8. Okay. How can I best deal with it? Is it okay just to feel it until it is over, or should it go somewhere? Excellent idea. So, my tantric partner is a minimalist, bless her heart. And her basic policy is, if I want to keep her sane, if I buy something, I have to get rid of something. 9 times out of 10. You know, something comes in, something goes out. I'm concerned one day I'll wake up and I'll find that I've been Velcroed to a furniture dolly and I'm way outside on the curb. But the minimalists have a good point. However, emotions aren't furniture. It's not our job to track our emotional inventory. Think of it this way. You and I are sitting sweet in the audience of a theater. On the stage, an actor comes out, says their lines, and then walks off stage. It's not our job to be the producer or the director or the playwright or the thespian. We're just the bloke what sits in the audience, sucking on a piece of hard candy, watching the actors and listening to their lines. That's it. When the actor goes off stage, they're no longer our business. So what goes on backstage or in the wings as an audience member is none of our business. All that matters is what we're experiencing in the moment. You know, what's going on stage. So, in short, persist with watching and resting in harmony with our inhalation and exhalation. That is all that is required for us to be happy, healthy, and well-adjusted. For us to be the people that our dogs already think we are. Having completed our opening Q&A, let's take a moment to shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano mid-morning. At least it is here in Southern California. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after about 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School for more than 30 years. I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So, welcome to the live stream if you've just tuned in. I'm not sure how much of the lesson you heard, so let's wrap this up in a nice red bow. If you're watching on the tube app, on the upper left-hand corner of the quadrant of the screen, you will see that we are reminded that the essence of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel our chest swell with breath. We are also reminded that the essence of meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb rest Each time we feel our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale. Pardon me, I appear to be the mayor of Newcastle. The free fall, that is meditation, can feel very, very jarring and exciting to our controlling tendencies. Here's a workaround that is in essence merely a variation of Bengali crease counting. Let us touch the tip of our left thumb to the lowest set of creases on its little finger, thus keeping track of our first set of 16 inhalations. Let us rest this left hand palms up in our lap. Every time we silently and mentally recite the verb watch, we could advance our right thumb up the creases and tips of each of its fingers. Together, let us practice right now, beginning with the right little finger. Clearly, I've run out of places upon which to touch with the tip of my right thumb. That means it's time to advance my left thumb up to its second set of creases. And now you get the basic idea of how we could use our left hand to keep track of the 16 sets of the 16 inhalations we count on our right hand. It takes a little more than a minute to get through 16 inhalations. It takes a little bit more than 20 minutes to get through 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. We could keep track of our collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations. During our first collection, we could rest the great knuckle at the base or right middle finger on the tip of our left. During our second collection of 16 sets of 16 relations, we could rest the second knuckle. During our third collection of 16 sets of 16 relations, we could rest our third knuckle. In a time of fascism where our smartphones can be stolen, it's nice to know we can time our meditation using just our body device. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. I check for questions about every 5 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's third session of Q&A and meditating like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.